Hi, I'm Stacy Maor, and we're going to talk about choosing your instrument. There's three things to think about when you're choosing your instrument, and probably the number one to think about is, will I play this instrument? Will I enjoy playing it? The second is, will I like the sound that's coming out of this instrument? Because if you don't like the sound, you're not going to want to play it very often. And then the third thing is going to be cost. So you have to figure out what is your budget for an instrument, and then just choose what you can get for the, from a sound perspective, to meet your budget. So that's why I mentioned sound first, and comfort, and then cost. So hopefully you can use these three dimensions to help choose your instrument. So to make the process a little bit easier, I thought I would walk you through the instruments that I have and that I've used in my journey this last year. And hopefully it will answer some of the questions that you may have about the different instruments and a bit about the pros and cons. So I'm going to start with the first instrument, which is the ukulele. So for the class that I took at the community college, I needed to have a ukulele for that. So I ended up borrowing my daughter's ukulele because she had one already, and I wasn't sure if I was going to like it or not, actually. And so I used that in the first couple of classes. And then I ended up ordering, this is a Kala soprano ukulele, and it has 4 strings, nylon. And this was the first ukulele that is my, what I'll call my first instrument. And actually, one of the reasons that I chose to go with learning ukulele first was because it's portable and it's relatively easy to learn. Kids learn a lot of times. This is one of the first instruments that kids learn because it's easy to play. So I thought, if kids can do it, maybe I can do it. So that was one of the reasons I started with this instrument. And then I will share sort of what it sounds like. So it's a pretty high pitch, and it's a very happy instrument. So if you like happy instruments, this is a good one to start with. So the pros of this are that it's small and easy to play. The cons are that the sound is not, it's not going to fill a room. You have to have some sort of microphone or something else in order to fill the sound in a room. The next thing that I'm going to share is my next instrument, which after I started to do songwriting, I realized I needed something a little bit more, a more sound. And then also when you're recording, this is also a little bit better. And this is a tenor ukulele. This is Kala, also from the same company as the other one. It has a nice sound. Let me give an example here. So a little bit different than the soprano ukulele. Also, this one ukulele is a little bit bigger, so I usually have a strap with it. The other thing with this is the fret is longer, so you will have more space for your fingers. So a lot of times, especially for men, it can be that their hands are bigger and it might be harder to play the smaller instrument. So this can be maybe be a little bit more comfortable. It's a little bit larger instrument. That is the tenor ukulele. And I use that to complete a 90 songs in 30-day challenge for myself. And I just used that completely for that. I didn't use any other instruments. And after I finished that challenge, I felt like I needed something a little bit more from an instrument. And I had been thinking about it for a while, but decided after that challenge that maybe my next challenge for myself was to move to a guitar. So I did some research and I was able to come up with something that I thought would work for me. And my requirements were that I wanted something that's comfortable to play, and I wanted something that wasn't going to be really hard to transition. I was really liking the tenor ukulele, but just needed something, this next step. So I took what I call the next best step, which is I moved to an acoustic guitar, and this has nylon strings. So it's very similar to the tenor ukulele from a string perspective, that some of the strings are a little bit thicker and the fret is a lot longer. And then also you have 6 strings now instead of 4. So that's the big transition, is that now you have a lot more strings that you need to press down on. And this was a 3/4 size guitar. So as you can see, I can pretty easily fit that, and I can move my hands up and down the fret easy enough. And it's really, for me, this feels like the perfect size for me. For someone else, they might prefer a larger instrument. Actually, let me go ahead and play a little bit here. Okay, so that's what the acoustic guitar sounds like. And with the 3/4 size, the sound is more than the tenor ukulele, but not as big sounding as a full size guitar. So that was my journey through the different instruments. And I would say what I really like about the final one, which is the 3/4 size guitar, is that now if I wanted to move to another guitar, it would be a lot easier. I could move to an electric guitar or something, maybe a full size guitar if I decide I'm ready for that. So a lot of different options. Once you start playing one guitar, you have a lot of different options that you can go. So that summarizes what I wanted to share on my journey. And then I just want to kind of come back to, when you're choosing an instrument, you need to think about what's good for you personally. You want to have the right size instrument. You want to have something that's comfortable to play. And then don't break the bank. And so I wanted to share, actually, this soprano ukulele from Kala is a really good, I would say, price to sound ratio. So it's not super expensive and it makes a nice sound. They're really known for that. There are other similar ukuleles to this that you can get on a relatively inexpensive. So that concludes the instruments. What I did want to do is also share a little bit about the what I'll call the accessories for all these instruments that you have. So the first thing I wanted to share is the tuner. So this is a tuner that clips onto your instrument, and you use this. It has a little display on it, and you can choose which instrument, and then you can just tune each string. And so this is really handy, I would say, and I've used it for all. You can have one and it does multiple instruments, so you don't have to have different ones for each instrument, and that's really handy. But is it required? Well, you do need a tune. That's required, but you don't have to have a separate tuner. There's plenty of tuners you can also get. There are apps that you can get on your smartphone, so that's another way that you can still tune. Just, you're not going to use the tuner, you're going to use your phone. So that's a great alternative. The next thing I wanted to talk about is music. And so I joined a group in my city that has ukulele jam sessions. So everyone comes and you sing songs together. And so this is the book that they recommended. It's called the Yellow Book, Daily Ukulele. And so this was really great for a couple of different reasons. It has a lot of different songs from a lot of different eras. So you have old songs and new songs. And the thing that I liked about it was that at the top it has the different, I'll try to show that somewhat here. It has the different chords that you need to play. So you can just look at the little picture and you don't have to have a separate sheet to figure out what are the different chords you need to play. And that is super handy. And by the way, I don't really read sheet music. I just look at the chords, and that's how I have been able to navigate. So you don't have to read music to play these instruments. You just have to learn some chords and where they go. And that makes it much simpler. The third thing, before I move off of the music, I want to talk about music for the guitar, or just music in general. There are a lot of apps out there you can, some are for free and some you have to pay for, where you can get access to a lot of different songs. And those are really handy you can save the songs that you like to play and then just pull up your list and you would view it all on your phone. The negative of that is that you have to use your phone all the time. So if you like to just be able to not be on your phone and pull out your sheet music and have or pull out your music information and your instrument, and then you don't have to use your phone. So what I do is I print out some of the music information, the chords and the words, and I'll print those out and have them in a 3-ring binder, or you can do it in another way. So something like that is a good way to simplify your music, so you're not totally reliant on electronics. And then the last thing on my list of accessories is a music stand. So the music stands are typically used when you're playing with other people, or you're say I'm going to a friend's house and we're going to play music. I may have a stand that I'm going to bring with me, and so those are handy. And you can get ones that are just fold up and you can take it with you, so they're portable, and so they're pretty small and lightweight, and it's nice to have, but you definitely don't have to have it. So just to summarize, there's a lot of things out there that you might think you need to play music, and you don't really need them. They're just kind of extras. So if you need to spend money on something, it's better to spend it on the instrument than all the fancy accessories. So just keep that in mind as you're thinking about moving forward with your first purchase of an instrument. And then I want to thank you for hanging out with me today and listening to my episode 2 about instruments and choosing the right instrument for your musical journey. I hope that you will join me next time in episode 3, and please subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next time. Thanks, everyone.